Hi all, today let's discuss about one of the element identification technique in Selenium, that is CSS selector. In this video we will see the basics of CSS selector, its syntax, and we will see different types of different formats of CSS selector uses. For this class we will use real world examples like Facebook and Salesforce.com. Let me first start with what is a CSS selector. CSS selector is nothing but a string pattern which was used to locate the elements in the web page. We will see like how we can locate the elements using the CSS selector and its basic syntax. Let me open facebook.com. So here we can see like in different input boxes, buttons, text, images, etc. So as to view the source code of this HTML page, we need to right click on the web page and click on inspect. It will open the Chrome DevTools. Here we can see like elements, console, sources, and network tabs. Okay. Like if we want to identify any element, or if we want to see what is this element, we need to click on that element and right click again, click on inspect. It will open the related code for that element. This is the HTML code that is written for the input box. Let me copy it again. I'm right clicking and click on copy and copying the element. Let me copy and paste it here. So we can see this is the value that is being copied. Like firstly, to understand the CSS selector, we need to know the basics of the HTML, like what is a tag, what is attribute, and what is the value, and what is the inner text. We will see these things using this example. Let's see, this is the element. So whatever the element it's having, the text after the less than symbol is called the tag name, and all the other key value pairs what are all the present in the this element are called key value pairs, are nothing but attribute and values. Here we can see type is an attribute and text is a value, class is attribute, input text, and these are the values, and name is a text, name is an attribute, and email is the its value. Similarly, id is an attribute, email is the value. So we are able to understand what is a tag, what is attribute, and what is the value. When it comes to the inner text, the text present between the two tags is called inner text. We'll see that with another example. Let's say I'm copying element of forgot it password. Clicking on right click, copy element. Take that and paste it in the here. We can see this A is the tag, href is an attribute, and this complete value is the value, and the text present between the two tags, that is between A and A, that is forget password. So forget password is the inner text of that particular element. This is like quick overview on HTML. Now let's see its basic syntax, like how CSS selector we can use with knowing the little bit basics about the HTML. This is the basic syntax. I am copying that basic syntax, going here, and I will click on anywhere in the page, click on Ctrl F. That will open another search box to paste our value. I'm just pasting that basic syntax. Let's say I want to inspect the, or I want to send some value to the input box or email field. So to do that, I need to identify it, right? So as to identify it, I am using CSS selector here. So this is the syntax that we use for the CSS selector. So let's see what is the tag name, attribute, and values present in the email field. So as to get that value, click on the element, right click, inspect. That will highlight the particular element in the DOM. DOM is nothing but document object model, which in which the page or any HTML page will be built. So in the DOM we can see input box is being highlighted. So now with our previous knowledge we can say that here input is a tag name. So I am replacing tag name with input, and any key value pairs are attribute and values. Here we can see class and its value. Class is having multiple values, name and its values, id and its value, data test id and its value. So now we can take any one to identify. Let's take ID because it would be mostly unique. So let me copy only the value of ID and replace it attribute. Only copy the value of email and replace with value. See now, it's highlighted one of one. That is nothing but the input field. This is how we can identify any element using CSS selector. Let me tell again with another example. Let's say for identifying the login. Okay, I can right click on inspect. This is highlighting the login button. We can see. So here, see, as per our previous knowledge, button is the tag name and remaining all the other attribute and value pairs. Here we can't see ID, so we will use name here. Let's first replace. Let's take our basic syntax and paste it here and replace the tag name with button and attribute value. Anything we can use here. We will use this name. Copy name, paste it here. Name value is login. Copy that value and paste it in the value. Again, we are successful and it's highlighting 1 out of 1, which is nothing but a login button. This is how we will do it. Now let's see different formats that we have to identify any web element. We can apart from the basic syntax, we can identify with some other different formats. They are below are the those. Only using the ID value we can identify any element. Let's see how we can do it. Come to facebook.com. We'll identify same email address again using that format. Click on the element, right click, inspect. That will highlight the element. We can remove the value by clicking on this cross mark. It's get removed. So now take the value. We'll see what is the basic syntax here. For the ID, basic syntax is hash and ID. Copy it here. Hash is the value. I'm just removing the space before it. Hash is the value. Hash, and we need to place the value of ID. What is the value of ID? Which is nothing but email. Let me copy it and paste it here. See, we can get the value. It's getting highlighted. This is how we can do it only using the ID. Let's see for another element. Let's see now for password. Right click, inspect. Just can remove this element by clicking here. Okay, this is not how it's highlighting the password. So again, the syntax is pound symbol and ID value. So what is the value of ID here? As we can see, pass is the ID. So we can remove the ID here and get pass. See, it's highlighting only one element in the yellow color. That is nothing but password. Let's move to the next one. And second one is like using clause. Its syntax is dot and clause name. So let's take this. We'll use same elements again. It will be easy for understanding. So we see, I just pasted dot and clause name. So again, clicking on this, inspect. So here we can see there are multiple class names. So it's having multiple class names. It's having, so let's take this input text value. So just take only the input text value and replace it with class. As we can see, it's highlighting. But if you see, there are two more results. That is input box and like email box as well as password. Both are sharing that class. So this is not the unique way of identification. Let's see for this Facebook image. Click on the image, right click, inspect. So here we can see it's also having multiple classes, but I think FB logo is the unique class here. Let's copy that only the FB element logo class. And what is our syntax? Dot and class name, right? Just replace that class name with the value we copied. That is FB logo. See, it's highlighted only one and only one element, which is nothing but the Facebook image. This is how we will use the second way of identification. Third one is using tag name and ID. Okay, let's see how we can do it. Same value, right click, inspect. Let's copy the basic syntax. which is nothing but tag hash id. What is the tag here? Input is the tag. What is the id value here? Is email. So just replace id with email. That's it. We are done with identifying the second one. Let's see next one. Next one is tag.class. Using tag and class name, let me copy the basic syntax and paste it here. Now again we'll see for the same Facebook image, click on the image and click on inspect. We can see that it's having a tag of img. Let's replace that tag with img and the class name is happy underscore logo. We'll use that one because it is not having any alphanumeric values. See, it's being highlighted. This is one of the form of the different formats. Next one is the basic syntax, that is with using tag name and attribute. We'll see how with some other element. Copying the basic format and pasting it here. Now see for the password. Click on the element, inspect. We'll see the element. So now it's having a tag name as input. Let's replace, copy the tag name, paste it with the here. Okay. Now attribute and values. Till now we used name and mostly name and id. Now let's use type instead of that. Copy, paste, and the value of password in the place of value. You can see this is identifying the element correctly. This is another way of identifying the element. Let's move to the next one. Next one is like using class and attribute. Along with this we can have one more thing, that is tag, id, then attribute. Its syntax is same like previously. Whenever we are using, we'll use id, we use hash and id. So just copy this one. This is the basic syntax and paste it here. We'll see it for the same web element so that we can know different types of identify. So for the input, the tag name is input and the id value is email. So let's replace id with email. And the attribute, we can use any other attribute. Let's use name now. Even the name value is email, so let's do it. Yeah, see, it's highlighting the value. Let's move to the final one. This is what using class, attribute, and tag class and attribute. Copy the basic syntax, paste it in here, remove the spaces, anything if we are having. Let's now do it for password. Click on inspect. Okay, it's having input as we know already. The class value, it's having multiple class values. Let's take the first one, input text. Okay, attribute and values, we can use anything. Let's use name. Name and its value is pass. So let's do pass. See, it's highlighting the value. Okay, yeah, we're done with explaining different formats. I will keep these notes in the description of the video. Please go through.